as a personal injury lawyer, something that always surprises me and really bothers me is the number of people that believe certain myths that are propagated by the insurance industry about personal injury lawyers and personal injury clients, more importantly. You know, as a lawyer, I've heard all the lawyer jokes. They don't bother me. If you don't like lawyers, that's fine. If you think lawyers are greedy, we heard that from a prospective juror during jury selection recently. Actually, I think most of the prospective jurors agreed with that statement in jury selection. We can disagree, that's fine. But, you know, what really bothers me as an injury lawyer is when I hear people like, for example, I had an insurance agent on the phone with me recently and was going on a pretty long rant about how Georgia is a, quote, judicial hellhole and has the highest insurance premiums in any state, and you know, it's all the lawyer's fault. There's an injury lawyer on every billboard on every corner, and you know, their clients are exaggerating their injuries. They're trying to make $1 million when they just got in a little fender bender, and it's just out of control. I mean, this is the sort of narrative, right, that the insurance industry and tort reform lobbyists have been pushing for years. But it bothers me when I hear people repeat that misinformation. So I just wanted to try to clear the air here and dispel some of these myths. So let's start with the notion that Georgia is a judicial hellhole. Well, this is a tort reform lobbying organization, American Tort Reform Foundation, and they do this list, and they say Georgia is now the #1 judicial hellhole. And this is something that I'm sure when the insurance industry folks go to training sessions or conferences and such, they're repeating these lines over and over. You know, this is the narrative, right? That these insurance lobbyists want to push, and apparently they've been doing an okay job at it because people are repeating this. Let's just make one thing clear. Georgia has been the #1 state for business for 10 years running now. I don't know how you can square being a judicial hellhole and being the top state for business, but okay, that's politics, I guess. The other was, again, about car insurance rates and how car insurance rates are out of control in Georgia because of all these injury claims. And for one thing, they're not, I know Georgia has some more expensive car insurance than many other states, but if you look at the facts, I mean, Florida, our neighbor to the south, this is bankrate.com, has Florida at absolutely absurd cost of insurance. Michigan is very high as well. New York is very high. California, Nevada, Louisiana. And if you look at what our car insurance rates are compared with other states, we're pretty on par with many other states. For example, Texas, Kentucky, Colorado, Arizona, Arkansas, Missouri, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Alaska, just to name a few. So that's another thing that's just not true. And, getting to the real root of I think a lot of the judicial hellhole outrage is what they call nuclear verdicts, right? Large dollar figure verdicts. And, again, as an injury lawyer, people don't see what's the person, the client behind those cases. And so, I mean, behind those large dollar figures that you see, there are real injured people with real legitimate injuries, often permanent and life-altering. There's nothing more heartbreaking than seeing someone, particularly somebody who's got their whole life ahead of them and having their whole lives turned upside down, and those are their family members as well. Cases that our firm has handled where injured clients have needed a lifetime of care, and that is not cheap. And so a lot of the dollar figures that you see, including in our own firm's case results, are tied to real, really, really serious injuries. I would say that there's not a case that our firm has handled that I would consider nuclear or not justified by the evidence in the case. Those numbers are tied to real people. And so it bothers me to hear people say that, oh, this is just, you're just making up numbers. If you look at the facts of the cases that people are saying are nuclear, there's real people and real reasons behind those numbers. So that's, I think, probably the biggest myth that people believe about personal injury cases is that when you see a huge multi-million-dollar verdict, somebody may have lost their life. How do you even put a price on that? And to hear people believe the misinformation that that is somehow driven by people who, you know, get an offender bender and, you know, go see a chiropractor a few times and want $1 million from their case. Those cases aren't the ones that are, those aren't getting multi-million-dollar verdicts. So I hope this has been helpful to clear the air a little bit and straighten some things out that you may see in the media.